All right, guys, so I'm out here at Mirimichi Green. It was really nice for them to invite me out to show you guys how it's all made. You guys know I'm a big fan of carbonized PN, Essential G, Carbon Pro G, and we've got Webb from Mirimichi Green. So Webb, I guess introduce yourself, let the audience know who you are. And
Webb Calvin with Mirimichi Green. I'm COO and glad to have you out here, and welcome to Mirimichi Green's manufacturing facility in Clinton, North Carolina.
Nice. So tell me about the process. You know, one thing that you hear about Mirimichi Green, talking to you, talking to some of your other people that are with the company, is that you have a sustainable approach to the way you create the product. So it's not just about creating green grass, but also doing so in a way that's responsible. Can you tell us about like how that process starts, from the materials, that kind of thing?
Well, from a material standpoint, everything that we use on site is a waste stream product to start with.
Okay.
Secondly, we run a zero waste facility, meaning we don't throw anything away. Even the overs, we run back through the compost process, so we don't have anything that we waste here. So it's a zero waste facility.
Okay.
Most of the inputs are from really a local standpoint. From the hog solids, the hog manures that we use as a base.
Okay.
We incorporate other inputs in the compost manufacturing from things like cotton trash from local gens, pine fines from some of the hog farm facilities that they use in their trucks when they're transporting their hogs from site to site.
Okay.
We use other ground up, maybe leaf litter from some municipalities and some other facilities. So everything we bring in is a waste stream. So it's sustainable in that effect from the word go. We're solving problems for the hog industry that are really big problems here in the state of North Carolina.
Okay.
Many of the other inputs that we get, they would have to be diverted into maybe a landfill or some other way to dispose of them that is not very cost effective and not very sustainable. So we're helping all those industries at the same time of making a very sustainable, very productive product.
Okay, and as far as like what goes into it, so I know we can't give any trade secrets, but as far as the inputs that go into, say, a bag of Essential G or Carbon Pro G or carbonized PN, like what are we looking at?
So hog solids is the main ingredient that we start with.
Okay.
In the composting process.
All right.
We'll add other inputs: cotton trash, pine shavings, some other, local regional things that we get.
Okay.
Municipalities have yard trash or litter. We don't use any food scraps, no biosolids, none of those things. But all that's brought on the site right here, and it all starts right here.
And then so you have so carbonized PN, Carbon Pro G, Essential G. Tell me the difference between those two. Now I've used carbonized PN for like top dressing, had awesome results with it. If a person's deciding between carbonized PN and Carbon Pro G, what really are the use cases between those two products?
Really, it's about what type of equipment that you've got.
Okay.
The carbonized PN is a very light, a very fluffy material.
Okay.
It's not a very spreadable material. You would need drop spreaders, you would need belt-driven top dressers, things of that nature, or for seeding or sodding or planting or under in construction, like root zone construction.
Right.
For a Carbon Pro G, which is it's a Lesco branded product, exclusive to Site 1, or the Essential G, which is a Mirimichi Green brand. Those are both spreadable, so we granulate those with a couple of other components. So they're more of a maintenance product for a landscaper that's got typical walk-behind 80-pound spreaders.
Okay.
So it's about equipment that you've got and application that you've got.
I see. But really, the foundation of all three of them is the same. Because sometimes I get questions from my viewers saying, should I get Carbon Pro G or Essential G or carbonized PN? Now, let's say you take the spreading out of it, right? The application out of it. Would it be safe to say that fundamentally, at a foundational level, they are very similar products that you're not losing too much switching between the
You're not. Everything starts here. The raw materials for both of those spreadable products is produced here.
Okay.
And it's produced with the carbonized PN. So that material that we'll see in a little bit will either go straight to a bag and sold as carbonized PN, or to be used as raw material inputs for both the Essential G or the Pro G before the agglomeration, before the granulation process.
Now, and also the material is also really clean. Is that something we can see, like the process that goes into taking it from the raw material to being refined? I saw a blue piece of equipment out here that it looks like it's like a giant mixer. I'm not sure what,
Windrow turner.
Windrow turner. So you go from the raw materials, and I guess it gets then put together and combined in a specific way?
That's right. They're brought in, we put on site here. They go into static piles for anywhere from maybe 2 months to a year. They're turned to keep the aerobic process going on, to keep that curing going on. From there, they're moved into concrete pads. We put them into windrows. And then the curing process really at that point is complete, but we go into a drying process. We work our way in from outside to inside, and then we add carbon before we go to a screening process, and then that's further refines that material.
Okay. As far as how we go from raw to complete, can we see some of that process as far as like how you go through and clean the material to make sure that it's like really good, very...
Absolutely.
All right.
Come on inside.
So the process, as far as ensuring that what you get out of a bag of carbonized PN, Carbon Pro G, or Essential G is clean and there's no debris in it, what's that process like as far as like number of stages, or how do you go through making sure it's as clean as possible?
So we go through a variety of screening processes, really. The compost, once it's basically cured and has begun the drying process outside on the pads, before it's brought in, it goes through one screening process and then put into windrows.
Okay.
That windrow process will last 2 to 6 weeks, depending on the ambient air temperature. We'll run the windrow machine over there, typically once a day.
Okay.
And that keeps the pile aerobic, keeps all the microbial activity going on, and keeps that heating process going on.
Okay.
So when it is dry and ready for the secondary screening process, we will move it over into the left side of the building. That's when we add the carbon to it.
All right.
We'll add the carbon to it. We will run the windrow turner over it again a few more times. It'll sit for 1 to 2 weeks on this side, and then it'll go into a final screening process at the far side of the building through the trommel screens.
Okay.
Those are screened down to about a 3/16 inch deck, and that will actually produce the final carbonized PN product, which is also the same product that we talked about that's used as raw material inputs for both of the granular products that we make.
That makes sense. And one of the things you hear about is like biochar, and you hear that if you apply just straight biochar to your soil, it helps suck everything up, and then it can pull nutrients away. I was talking to some of your scientists about the process. They said that you guys inoculate the biochar with these products. Can you talk a little bit about that as to why the biochar that's in the Mirimichi Green products doesn't have a negative impact on the soil? If anything, it helps to feed the soil.
Well, that's the thing about biochar. While we don't sell raw biochar,
okay,
the activities of a charged carbon give it that ability to draw in nutrients, draw in water, and house those until the plant needs it.
Okay.
If you put raw biochar into the soil profile, well, that's what it's going to do immediately. Is it's going to pull nutrients out of your soil profile that your plant needs.
Okay.
Where we go through an inoculation process where we take the carbonized with the carbon, the compost, blend them together and inoculate them. So we're actually charging that carbon where it becomes a giver right away, not a taker.
Not a taker. So it's preloaded with the good stuff.
Exactly right.
And just kind of helps to help feed the soil.
Exactly
awesome.
right.
Let's go take a look now at like how it's bagged. So I know you guys offer it in bag form, but there's also available in like a big sack as well, right?
Right, super sacks. So we have 40-pound bags, 1 yard super sacks, 2 yard super sacks, and then we do bulk truckloads as well with walk-in port trailers or dump beds, if that's a requirement. However you want it, we can get it to you.
Well, Webb, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's the facility, the way everything works is pretty awesome. I think the viewers are going to get a lot out of it. Again, special thanks to the team at Mirimichi Green for having me out to show the process, and hopefully you guys got a lot out of it. So now you know whenever you buy a bag of carbonized PN, a bag of Carbon Pro G, or Essential G, all the work that goes into creating the best possible products. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I will see you guys next time.